You know what else I'm hopeful for?
Oh, tell me. Is it
Uh,
Sony?
it is Sony. Funny enough.
I love Sony right now.
Yeah, I do too. They're pretty cool. Uh, but they actually reportedly are planning to announce new hardware soon, which is including a PS5 Pro controller. Very exciting stuff there. If at all you are a competitive gamer of any sort, or you just love a good gamepad, Sony is. They seem to be entering the Pro controller market very soon, which I know for me, I mean, I got an Xbox. I have an Elite Series 2 Xbox controller, and if it's anything like the quality of that, which I'm sure Sony will probably do that, if not better, it's gonna be pretty rad to have this controller. I'd really like the Elite Series 2. I mean, the biggest thing, which a lot of people, a lot of owners of that controller say, is the bumpers. Which I mean, if you've ever like
Hmm.
seen the internals, it's very, very like cheap design on the bumpers. It's like there's not really much there, so there's a reason I
But
guess they break so much, but
which bumpers are you referring to? The ones on the Xbox?
yeah, like
Or
right and left bumper, the top right and left on the Xbox
oh, okay.
Series 2.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So those bumpers break pretty easily. So that's been like one complaint I hear a lot about. But other than that, very solid controller, very well made. It's very sturdy for the most part. It feels like it's one of those controllers that it's got a little weight to it, and I don't know what it is. Technology that has like a little weight to it, I always love. Like I know there's like some tech that tries to be light or whatever, but like stuff like like an iPhone or just like a smartphone, like especially if it's not super thin, it just like feels like expensive. Is the best way to describe it. There's something about that. It just like makes you feel a certain way, you know. So,
My
um,
man sounded materialistic right now.
yeah, just a little bit, you know.
I like a watch that will sink me
Yeah,
when I go
see,
swimming.
yeah, see, like that. Nah, I don't need I don't need a heavy watch weighing my wrist down, but
No,
mm,
I'm just teasing. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you want something that's sturdy and that can like make impact. You don't. It doesn't feel cheap. I think is the best way to put it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Then before we move on, there's a little more to this in the actual story itself. So I said the industry insider Tom Henderson claims to have heard from several sources that the platform holder will unveil new hardware at the end of June, although it will not include a new console, of course. But anyways, he described a genuine professional controller for PS5. The new pad will reportedly feature removable analog sticks, grips, trigger stops, and back paddles. Um,
Good.
Buttons under the analog sticks are said to allow users to remove the analog unit completely, presumably enabling them to replace it with a newer one rather than having to buy another controller should issues with stick drift arise. Anderson said that he was provided with the images of the alleged prototype of the PS5 Pro controller, which it's claimed will have significant software upgrades. Yeah, I will say, very interesting stuff there. They're trying to essentially, combat the whole stick drift. I mean, that's the biggest issue with most controllers,
Mhm.
especially like
Yep.
as they start aging, is that just the stick drift gets real bad. And it's something that, I mean, it's something that, it's apparently so bad to the point like where it's kind of like, it's almost like batteries. There's no real like evolution to it yet, or like, revolutionary way of
Oh
doing
yeah.
it. So you just have to replace it. It's kind of just is what
Yeah.
it is.
I mean, stick drift has been a problem since N64.
Yeah.
Really, like
Yeah.
since when they first started adding in joysticks. Even in fighting games, I mean, the people that are then in fighting games know exactly what I'm talking about. Like after time, it physically wears and tears, gets gunk, gets like debris, whatever, all types of things, and then it loses quality.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I'm
And
super excited about this.
yeah, I mean, and like, I'm trying to think here, controllers that have done this. I mean, I know the Thrustmaster, they have the removable, like the controller you normally use for like the Xbox controller, that has removable analogs.
Yeah,
So like that's one
it's
example of a
super nice.
controller that's like thinking about, trying to think ahead and like past like the analog thing. Cause most pro controllers, I mean, you have to buy a new one. You can't like replace the analogs. So the fact that Sony's putting this into consideration, I think it's really promising, and it really shows that they want this controller to be something that you have for a long time, and you won't have to just completely buy a new one, which is, that's for the consumer through and through, man. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
there's uh, so a lot of my friends and myself, we concentrate a lot on the game pads and which game pads are going to be the best for you
yeah,
for different applications. So like I personally have three main controllers that I use on a regular basis. If I'm not using mouse and keyboard, of course. So the first one is the Thrustmaster, which I always use for Halo, like any competitive Halo that I play with, except for so Halo 5 I'll use it. Halo Infinite particular is the main one I use it for. And I will use it a little bit for racing games because it's so accurate. It's like crazy accurate on the joysticks, and you really need that for control unless you have a steering wheel. That's like the
Yeah.
only way to get
Oh,
better. Um, but for a game like Halo 2 and Rocket League, even I'm using the PS2. Yeah, so I'll use the PS2, sorry, the PS4 DualShock controller for Halo 2 with a button pad attachment. And
uh,
then for Rocket League, I use the PS5 controller.
mm,
So it's like PS5 and PlayStation in general, the one thing that they cannot compete with when it comes to Xbox is their controllers. Their controllers are just better. They're
yeah.
faster, they're sturdier, they're made better, they last longer. Like everything about them is better. And the only thing that Xbox really had was the Elite controller, the
Yeah.
Elite 2 controller with the button pads. And man, those things would they fall apart pretty
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for what PS5's got coming to us with the Pro controller.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean it's true, man. That Elite series, I mean, although it's a good controller, it's like
They don't
I mean,
last.
I think most Xbox based controllers, it's kind of like the same thing. It's
Yeah.
like, it's very rare that someone says, I had that thing for 4 years and it was fine. Like, hey, you almost never hear like stuff like
No.
it's like, normally within a year or two, they're having to get a new one. Um, so yeah, I'm very excited to see Sony out the gate here with this, and apparently it's later this month, according to this rumor. So maybe sooner than we think.
I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's cheap, but this is going to be a direct competitor to the Elite controller. So what do you think the price point is?
Oh, I mean, 150, 200 probably. If I had to guess. I mean, removable
Yeah.
analogs. I don't know if that's gonna increase the price. I mean, it's surely there's a possibility it might though, because you're paying more up front, but like just being able to replace those analogs, it's gonna be much cheaper in
Right.
the long run. So like you're making that upfront investment, right? Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that may be able to justify them having a better price for that, or a higher price.
Yeah. I'm thinking 160.
160.
It's about 160.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, I think it's fair. Yeah, I would either that or 200. you know, Sounds like a premium
Yeah.
product, so
Oh, it's
definitely,
yeah, for sure.
definitely see,
For sure.
definitely see when it comes out.
Yeah,
Premium
but
this thing is.
tying in from last episode, with Xbox partnering with Samsung and Bluetooth controllers. I
Yeah,
mean, this is the controller to grab. I'm just saying. Like,
yeah,
it'll be sick.
yeah, definitely,
Mhm.
definitely.